All right, let's talk about something that most of us kind of take for granted, but is secretly one of the most powerful levers in all of business, and that's pricing. It's so much more than just a number on a tag. It's a seriously strategic weapon.
So, let me just ask you this. If you're running a company and you need to boost profits, like right now, what's your first move? You'd probably think, let's cut some costs, right? Or maybe, we gotta sell more stuff. And yeah, those are the usual answers. But there's another lever, one that is way, way more powerful.
And it turns out the people running these companies are completely obsessed with it. Just look at this. In a big survey, managers were asked to rank what mattered most to their success. And way up at the top, towering over everything else, product quality, costs, even advertising, is price. I mean, in every category, it's the one thing that gets all their attention. So, what's the big secret? Why is it so incredibly powerful? Let's just run the numbers and you'll see. To really see why price is such a game changer, we're going to walk through a really simple financial scenario. And this is where you'll see how a tiny little tweak can have massive, massive results. It's all about leverage.
Okay, so here's our starting point. We've got a company. It sells 1,000 things for $10 each. That's $10,000 in sales. You take out the cost of making the product, you take out the fixed costs like rent and salaries, and you're left with a final profit of $1,000. Simple enough, right?
Now let's start playing with the numbers. What happens if our fixed costs, things like rent, go up by just 10%? Watch that bottom line. The profit drops from $1,000 down to $700. That is a 30% hit to our profits, all from a little 10% change in one cost. Ouch.
Okay, but what if it's the variable costs that go up? So the cost of the materials for each thing we sell, well, a 10% increase there is even more brutal. Look at this. The final profit just collapses from $1,000 all the way down to $400. We just lost 60% of our profit.
But what if we go in the other direction? What if instead of costs going up, we increase our price by that same 10%? We just go from $10 unit to $11. All the other costs, they stay exactly the same. So look what happens to the result. The profit, well, it doesn't just go up a little bit. It doubles. It literally doubles from $1,000 to $2,000. And this right here, this one image, it just tells the whole story. A 10% change in fixed costs, you take a 30% hit. A 10% change in variable costs, a 60% hit. But that same small 10% change in price, it's not even playing the same sport. It gives you a staggering 100% boost in profit. Just let that sink in. That one small adjustment has this incredible outsized effect, far beyond anything else a business can do. And this is why price isn't just a number. It is the absolute key to profitability.
Okay, so now that we've seen its raw power, let's get a little more precise, because it's really, really important to understand what price actually is, and maybe even more important, what it isn't.
We often use the words price and value like they're the same thing, but they are totally different. Price is just the economic sacrifice. It's the money you hand over. Simple. But value is the satisfaction you get back. It's the problem that gets solved for you or the joy that you feel. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get.
And here is the crucial point. Think about everything a business does to get you to buy something. They design a cool product, they make ads, they set up stores or websites. Every single one of those things costs money. They are all expenses. Price is the only thing in that entire mix that actually brings revenue in. It's the only lever that fills the bank account.
So, if picking a price is that important, how do companies actually do it? Well, it usually boils down to two completely different ways of thinking about the world.
Now this slide, I think this is fascinating because it shows these two opposing philosophies side by side. On the left, you've got the old school factory-first way of thinking, and on the right, the modern market-first approach. And just notice how the arrows are flowing in completely opposite directions. So the traditional factory-oriented way, it's an inside-out approach. It all starts with the product. The thinking goes like this. Okay, this thing costs us $5 to make. We want a $3 profit, so the price is $8. And then the very last question they ask is, all right, now can we go convince somebody to buy it? The modern market-oriented way just flips that whole script. It's outside in. It starts with the customer and the market. The logic is, what is this really worth to someone? What problem does it solve? What are people willing to pay? Let's say it's $10. Okay, we need a $4 profit. That means our target cost to make this thing has to be $6. The final question is totally different. Can we actually make it for that cost? So once you start thinking market first, this whole strategic toolbox of pricing options opens up. You can move beyond just guessing and get really creative and analytical about how you do things.
Okay, first up, you've got penetration pricing. This is what you do when you want to make a huge splash in a market that's already crowded. Think about a new streaming service launching with a super low price. The goal isn't to make a big profit on day one. It's a land grab. The goal is to get a ton of users really fast and pull them away from the competition.
Now, the total opposite of that is skimming. This is for brand new, innovative products that everyone wants. Think about the launch of the hottest new phone. The price is set really high at first to skim the cream off the top, to capture all those early adopters who have to have it first and will pay anything. Then, over time, the price slowly comes down to attract the next group of buyers.
Then you've got premium pricing, and this one is pure psychology. Here, the high price is the feature. It's not about covering costs. It's about sending a signal of luxury, exclusivity, and top-tier quality. With a fancy watch or a high-end car, a lower price would actually hurt the brand because that high price is part of the story it's telling.
And finally, a really clever one, decoy pricing. You have absolutely seen this before. A small popcorn is $3 and a large is $7. But then they add a medium for $6.50. Almost nobody buys the medium. It's only there to make the large look like an amazing deal. It's a decoy, a little psychological nudge to guide you to the choice they want you to make.
So let's bring it all home. What are the big ideas to remember? First, price is, without a doubt, your most powerful profit lever. Second, even a tiny little increase in price can have a huge, outsized impact on your bottom line. Third, always remember the difference. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. And finally, pricing strategy can come from the inside out, based on costs, or from the outside in, based on the market.
So the next time you're shopping, I want you to look at things a little differently. Every price tag isn't just a number. It's the final sentence in a story that a business is trying to tell you about its value. So, now that you can read the language, what stories are all the products around you telling?